What is up? So I'm back with another video, and right now we're going to be talking about how to take care of your betta fish. Do you have any plans to buy a betta fish? Or do you already have one? So you might have happened to walk by a store or maybe a pet shop that sells betta fish, and you actually saw a betta fish inside a cup that's this small. And you might think in your head that, oh, I can get a betta fish and put it in a vase and maybe put it on a cup or a small container like this one or a bowl. Well, let me tell you right now, that's not the right idea that you're gonna do. Your betta fish will not live as long as they should live for, and you're not gonna have a happy life. Now let me show you the types of aquariums that we can actually use for our betta fish. Okay, so this is the first type of tank that we're gonna choose. So right now it houses a crown-tail betta fish, and the dimensions for this is 6 inches wide, and then 4 inches wide on this side, and then 8 inches in height. Now the reason why I use this is because I house betta fish in these type of containers if the betta fish is the ones that I'm selling. Because if you don't know, I actually sell betta fish online. And the next one is this one, which is 6 by 6 by 8 inches. Now I prefer this one over this one. I prefer the bigger one, of course. It's just that it consumes more space. And the ones that I keep as pets, I keep them in this size of aquarium. This is around 2 gallons. Or sometimes I also keep them in 2.5 gallon aquariums per one betta fish. And the reason why I keep them on a 2.5 gallon or 2 gallon aquarium is because with these two types of containers, these two types of aquariums that you see here, this actually requires a lot more maintenance than this one. Now, the reason for that is because, first off, there are no plants and filter to convert the nitrates into nitrites. And you need to do at least twice a week of water change for this kind of container for 30%. So I usually fill it up to here, and then I do 30% water change twice a week. As you can see here, I have some lava rocks at the bottom, and the reason for that is to house beneficial bacteria that converts nitrates into nitrites, which are less harmful for your fish. And it also goes the same with this one. I also do 30% water change once every 2 weeks. And as you can see, there are bubbles on top of it, and that means you have a healthy betta fish. And it could also mean that it's ready to breed. So this one is a double tail half moon. And as you can see, there are both healthy fish and flaring up with each other. Beautiful fish, right? It's one of the reasons why I kept betta fish as pets, is because they're very interesting. They have long flowing tails. Sometimes they have short tails, like this one, which is a half moon plakat and decoy. Beautiful fish. And so that's basically it for the housing. Now it's time for us to talk about the water. These are actually just regular tap water that we use dechlorifiers in. Or in my case, I prefer to stop the water for at least 24 hours to remove some of the chlorine and chloramine. And then, if necessary, I add dechlorifier. I also suggest using salt for your water and your betta fish. It's because salt actually helps your betta fish immune system, and it improves the quality of life for your betta because it prevents some of the common diseases, which is velvet, itch, clamp fins. And also, don't forget to use regular aquarium salt or regular salt without iodine. So make sure it's not an iodized salt. and you're basically good to go. My rules for adding salt is this one. If you're using a 2-gallon or more, maybe 2.5-gallon aquarium for one betta fish, I would suggest that you add at least 1.5 teaspoon of salt. And then if you're using these 2 containers, maybe half a teaspoon or 1/4 teaspoon for this one, for the smaller one, which is a 4x6x8, the one that I showed you earlier. And then half a teaspoon for the 6x6x8 inches aquarium. So you might be wondering on what type of diet does my betta fish need. So betta fish are actually carnivores, which means they eat protein-rich diet and they don't eat plant matter. The first type of food that we're going to talk about are live food. Now, what are live food for betta fish? First one is tubifex worms, like this one. And the tubifex worms is actually one of the best type of food that you can actually give to your betta fish. However, most of the time, tubifex worms are harvested from the wild, which might carry parasites or other bacteria that you might introduce to your betta fish tank. So you have to be wary of that. And you're not supposed to overfeed your betta because, as you know, the betta fish stomach is just the size of its eyeballs. So it's not that much, right? The next type of betta food that I'm going to show you is bloodworms. And you can either get that in frozen or live bloodworms. Now, what I prefer frozen bloodworms over live bloodworms. It's because it's convenient to keep. And unlike if you have live bloodworms, then you have to keep it aerated, keep it alive. So it's a matter of convenience. The next type of betta food that I'm going to show you is DIY betta food mix, which I usually make on my own. And I'm also going to teach you guys on how to make that on our next vlog. You can also give mosquito larvae to your betta fish, aside from the tubifex worms and bloodworms, as an additional live food source as well. They say that's actually one of the best type of food that your betta can actually get. The next type of food that we're going to talk about is betta fish pellets. Now, all I can say with betta fish pellets is that it's the most convenient type of food that you can actually give to your betta. You can get it from any pet store, you can order it online. It's very easy to keep, you just keep it tight and sealed, and then just open it when you need it, and then feed it to your betta fish. Now, just remember the rule of how big the stomach of a betta is. So give it at least maybe 2 to 3 or a maximum of 5 to 6 pellets per feeding, maybe 1 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. And that would be more than enough for your betta fish. So here are some feeding videos of our betta. So we're gonna get a small amount, like so. Come here, come here. There you go. Oh, this boy's hungry right here. Come on, come here, come here. He's chasing after it. Come here, come here. There you go. Big boy. Let's see if he's still gonna eat the one that fall off. The gravel. Beautiful fish, right? You've had enough for today. Look at his tummy. Alright, so that concludes our betta fish care video for today. And if you happen to like my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a like and hit the bell notification icon below. And if you want to know how I made my DIY betta fish food, stay tuned.